My name is Lady Starkey. I am a very puny baronet's wife. The house that I was brought up in here is in Wiltshire, which was owned by the highwayman who killed a lady because she was too rich. The Hambros, they're Jewish people from Vienna, and they went to Denmark and they became bankers to the King of Denmark. And they took the name of a village of Ambro. But when they was written down, they put an H there, so they were called Hambro. They became banker to the King of Denmark, and then they came over to the great burgeoning finances of the London scene, became bankers in London, and now they're big bankers in Sweden. Sir Percy Hambro, of the banking family, but they didn't like him in the bank because he became a soldier, and he was knighted for his work in the Crimea War. I had full staff, nannies and cooks and bottle washers and gardeners.
Her marriage always appeared to be a strong and happy one, and she performed her duties as the wife of Sir John with great energy and vivacity and grace.
So that it was a really busy life then, and a lot going on and a lot of demands on small children. But she was always the sort of there for them and always keeping the whole ship running.
I did my best. Cleared Norwood, paid it, of course my money, always my money. Everything went quite well until 2 or 3 catastrophes. One was the film. The film was called Who's Boss Now? And that said, who is going to take on the family businesses? And the one for the Starkeys was called Born to Rule. And in the film, it quite clearly, Jerry Robinson said that Susanna could run a country the size of Bulgaria and should be able to run the whole of Norwood. Henry couldn't run a bath, let alone an estate, to which Georgie, who had married Henry for his malleability, good looks and title and house, got very cross about that, so she told Jerry Robinson that Henry would commit suicide if he didn't get the house. He had lost a company of agricultural machinery. Then he lost his fruit business. Harvest was bad, and John wanted to expand it a bit. So he had borrowed £10,000 from the NatWest in '92, when the interest rates were 1.5. What actually happened was that he put a piece of paper, big size, that size paper, in front of me one day on the big table and said, can you sign this, darling? And I said, well, I'll sign it when I come back from shopping, because my mum said never sign anything until you've read it, which I have had a mistake in doing. And I never saw it again. The interest rates had shot up to 15%, and he had borrowed on the house. The bank called us in and took everything, yeah? Took all the land that was not trust. The middle of it I bought from the bank.
She's a very creative thinker, very intelligent, and she has a good grasp of financial matters. But it did appear to me that she was very frustrated that her ideas didn't seem to be taken on board.
One of the things that I could give you a long list of all the times when he did not take my advice from a business point of view, and which would have saved 3 of his businesses. But I think that his main thing, psychologically, I have come to the conclusion that it was because he had a good woman stronger than him.
She went to Australia and met this Englishman. So they were a very, very good-looking couple.
He took me to the opera and he took me out to dinner. He didn't dance very well. My mother said, be careful of people who dance very well. They're usually too proud of themselves. One Friday night at dinner, he said, I would like to marry you. So following my mother's advice that I would tell him the next morning and not make any major decisions at night, on the Saturday I said, yes, I would very much, but I'd like to a bit longer because I'm only 21 and so I've just arrived in Australia, so can we say we won't marry anybody else for a year and just keep it like that? In the old days in Norwood I learned that you didn't come downstairs, the front stairs, till you were 17, and you didn't put your hair up until you were 17. Coming out of the teenage time into the adult time. Grand house parties would have girls, young people to stay, and they'd have a big dinner party. You may be shooting or maybe not. We had cocktail parties and shooting parties and hosting parties because we were meeting people in their country establishments and all that sort of thing. Well, we used to do dancing, proper dancing. But if the cellar party, we did smooching. Yeah. And that was rather fun, and I was smooching with Kesnev, who became a film star. So it was all part of the marriage market, and it was done to introduce the young to each other. In India, you put yourself in advertisement for, you know, what skills you have for finding a husband. But in this country, what you did you did secretly, so to speak, with parties. The chap who had a van and who lived in a small house was not as good as the man who had a bigger car and lived in a proper house, yes? You have to have breeding, position, future. You couldn't possibly go out with somebody from a grammar school if you found out that he went to a grammar school. So I went out with John Sacker. John Sacker was one of the Sainsbury's. He was known as a come closer darling because he would go fast round the corner, so you would lean against him, yes. We all quite understood that you got pregnant if you French kissed. We all knew that. We were told had ponies. I think that in those days, and I wouldn't be at all surprised, it's considered more sexually amusing to have your legs astride a horse when you're a teenager than a boy. So it takes you out of trouble if you're in the pony club rather than nightclubs. I helped with the Chernobyl children until it was found that my daughter-in-law said that I was dangerous with children, and my husband said that I was a danger, so I was then not allowed to touch children. No. He's a bad boy. So that was the children that I helped.
Things did change at Norwood, and to enable her son to become a more valuable part of the estate, he and his wife moved into the main house, and she worked very hard to on the west wing and the garden, hoping that that would be an ideal solution. But it appeared not to be, and I think that Victoria felt very ostracised, and it was a difficult situation for her.
This is him, my husband. The first time I was arrested was for knifing my husband. I said, talk to me, because I'm that sort of person. And I said, talk to me, like that. And I happened to be holding the knife that I was doing my bread and butter with. So the poor man got hurt on his hand. Yes, and I was arrested for knifing him. Well, that's knifing somebody.
It was Victoria's birthday. It was May the 1st, and we were having lunch together with a couple of other friends. And Victoria told us that she said there had been some altercation, with her daughter-in-law, and she didn't go into details, and I've no idea exactly what happened, but she said, they're going to get the police on me. And we all laughed about it because it seemed a light-hearted story.
I was arrested in the co-op by a policeman.
And then we got to the car park and there was a police car. So I jokingly said to Victoria, "Oh look, they've come for you, Victoria." And they actually had.
After my daughter persuaded the psychologist that I was lunatic enough, thank you very much indeed, to be sectioned, at the end of that there was an injunction that I should not go near or talk to them or disturb them.
They actually took her to Kingsmill Hospital, to the ward for mental illness, and they kept her in there. It was the most horrendous situation. And she was perfectly compos mentis. There was nothing mentally ill about her at all. She was in for weeks. She tried to escape. She tried to escape.
They locked me up I said to my husband, "Please, will you get rid of me honourably?" He had me arrested for saying, why don't you just shoot me? Get rid of me, properly. So I was arrested for going to shoot myself with an air gun, which is impossible to do. I think it's more possible with the knife that I had in the kitchen to kill myself. In fact, one of my friends did actually draw a knife across her throat and killed herself with a knife. So it's not possible with an air gun, really.
They were trying to get her to take medication for a condition that she refused to accept that she had. Victoria invited me to come along to support her when there was an official hearing with several people there, with her husband, her son, there were psychiatrists, there was her doctor.
I was arrested and taken to the police station and locked up without anybody coming to see me. I said, "Could I have a cup of tea?" So I had a cup of tea. So I had to pee in a paper cup because they wouldn't come take me to the toilet.
Henry, her son, said if she won't take the medication, she will never see her grandchildren again. And it must have been extremely difficult for her, but she was absolutely magnificent in the way she was conducting herself. And she showed no signs whatsoever of any mental problems. I think she has a propensity to be aggressive.
Yes.
But she's been given good reason to be aggressive. If you suddenly find out that your wife or your mother is mentally ill, you don't have them arrested. You care for them. You look after them. You show them love and understanding.
I was forced to sign everything to the Starkeys under pressure. I mean, seriously under pressure. So I thought, this is crazy, so I signed under pressure. And it's not dated, and it's not got any collateral signature. No man is allowed to mortgage the family house without the wife having separate advice in a separate room. And they've done it three times to me. I have to remind you that incapacity or inability in England is now very carefully looked after. And there is a law called nothing about you without you. So you can't say, "I've put 4 sugars in your coffee." Yeah? You have to say, "How many sugars would you like in the coffee?" Nothing about you without you. So, and they have done that, categorically done it without me. And being mentally ill, as John said, claimed I was mentally ill and bad, the judge found in favour of John and required everything to go to John. everything, all the estate. The locals are absolutely horrified about the dereliction and how people have treated me. They keep saying to me, "Are you single yet, Victoria?" And I say, "No, I'm not, because the lawyers are really not playing game." "And how are you doing about everything? And isn't it awful? And how are you? How are you?" They say, "How are you?" And I say, "I'm fine." And you know what fine means? It means feeling in need of encouragement. Hello? I go to the opera and go to various things to keep me busy because I hate being bored. I'm telling everybody I'm 102, and when they say, "Well, you don't look it," and I'll say, "Well, all women lie about their age anyway." Yeah. This is here because I travelled with Ranulph Fiennes in the ship to Australia. And these are my stories, you know, China and royal occasions and all those things that I could make talks of. Cliff Richard is my hero, and this is Fred. I've got a very nice neighbour across the road, and a very nice neighbour here. Are you ready? So that's the bed, and in here is my sheets and my duvet and my pillows. Here's a cooker here. I'm just pending myself, if you see what I'm saying. I keep saying I've got a broken heart now because I'm quite lonely and I know that I'm stuffed up and nobody really cares one jot about me. I find it very isolating to be diminished, to be ridiculed, to be told by my husband nobody will come to your funeral, for my friends to not ask me out, for me to be so uncared for, really.
We've walked and got horribly lost when we've been walking, and she has actually forged a way through a hedge. And we've crawled, and she's gone ahead with her bare hands, getting away through a hedge, and we emerged on the side of the road with traffic coming past. And you know, she's fearless. That's what she is. She's fearless.
I would like my name cleared. That's what I would like, that I'm not mad, not bad, not dangerous, so that they've lied about it and stolen and they're bad. And I told you what I'm fine means, didn't I?
Yes.
I'm fine, yes.
But tell us again.
Fucked up, insecure, neurotic and exhausted. Yeah.